Yoda. This your boy Old Dog Girl. Here with my co-host, Mr. Ray, aka Coach Ray.
Yes, sir. You already know it. We appreciate everybody tuning in to Palm Beach County Sports Network. Brought to you by Next Up Athletics 561. Sponsored by New Jack Barbecue, Watch Me Shine LLC, and LBU 561. Music brought to you by So Cold. You know, we got two guests here today. You know, J Hawk. What's
up? Big J in the building.
One and only Earl Newby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Newbster.
Yes, sir.
Black boy.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Back at it. Yeah, like I was saying before, freshman year when I first went in the Gardens, I ended up playing, I probably could have played quarterback, but we had a junior that was coming off an injury that was coming back, and he was going to be the starting quarterback, and I ended up playing guard. I think it was like left guard and middle linebacker, and I was like the third string quarterback or something like that, backup quarterback at that point in time for the first game.
Is varsity or JV?
JV. We only had two teams. It was varsity and a JV.
Okay.
And this was 99 probably it was. Yeah, 99 it was. 98, 99, and then like I said, played two games. The second game was Suncoast. Well, what happened in that first game was we played Pahokee, and our starting quarterback ended up getting hurt.
Who was the starting quarterback at the time? You remember?
Yeah, I remember who he was. It was good. He's still a good friend of mine right now. His name Casey Lenhart.
Okay.
He was the junior I was talking about. But he was throwing it around. He was decent. I mean, you know, varsity at that time was something tough to crack. We had a new coach at that time. His name was Tim Tharp. I was a freshman. They was the varsity coach, and I was on JV with Coach Daniels. And we played Pahokee. He ended up getting hurt in that Pahokee game. My boy Daryl. End up finished the game out. Then we came back to practice that next week, and then we was playing Suncoast, and they moved me from guard to quarterback, just based off of they just didn't trust Daryl, I guess.
Okay, so let's rewind. So I don't think everybody would grasp what you just said just happened. You went from offensive guard.
Yeah, offensive guard to quarterback, to starting quarterback on JV.
Okay.
Second game. This is second game. And I still had to play middle linebacker. Right? And so at that time we had a really good JV team that year. My freshman year, maybe like 4 of us moved up to varsity. After that game right there. I can remember playing a Suncoast game, the JV game. That was my second game. We ended up blowing Suncoast out. Then that Friday, because it was a Thursday game, that Friday I went to go see the now head coach at Palm Beach Gardens play my cousin Tyrone Higgins.
Shout out to Coach Higgins.
One time for Higgins, you already know he doing a good thing over there.
Yes, sir.
I went to go see him play, and I watched 3 varsity quarterbacks go down. The starter, the backup, the third string, and then like the fourth string almost went down. Right? And then I can remember after the game, my cousin saying, they play Olympic Heights. They playing Olympic Heights. I can remember after the game, he said, "Get ready to be called up." And after that, that's when I was on varsity. Like I said, my second game, it was probably varsity maybe second or third game, probably. I don't know. I forget really what it was.
When that happened, was you ready for that mentally? Like, how were you at mentally when that just happened? Like, you just went from playing guard on the offensive line, playing guard, to just getting shot up the quarterback. Then you just watch first string go down, second string go down, third string go down, and now you next in line. So where were you at? Where were you at mentally? And when you seen all that happening, like did you lock in, or was it like, I don't know if I'm ready, or where were you at? What was your confidence?
It was real. It was difficult. Like, I ain't gonna lie, it was different. Like, cause when he said it, I was just like, nah, hell nah, bitch, this varsity. What's going on, boy? You talking about, like, boy, y'all out here clapping, right? But once I got there, like I said, like, it kind of slowed down for me. They kind of told me what they expected of me. They didn't really expect a lot throwing wise, right? They just really expected me to manage a game, and that's where I really learned how to manage a game and really kind of took my game to the next level.
So for any youngins that you can, give them a little piece of advice about, sometimes that ain't an easy transition, especially for kids now that's playing the game, and just allowing yourself to be coachable and trusting in the coach to, understand that he sees more in you, and he can see that you might be more suitable to a different position, or like you said, you was on the O-line, you got moved to quarterback. Not only did you got moved to quarterback, you had to get put into a situation where you had to play now.
Yeah, well, I had to play, and not only play, but learn the playbook. Like you go from running like maybe 3% of your varsity playbook to now you're running damn near 50% to 60% of your varsity playbook now, right? Because at that point in time, they really ain't. I wasn't brought up to be a gunslinger. We ran the wing T. My job was to manage the game, like hand the ball off, pull this mug when I needed to pull it, right? Hand it off, run bootleg waggle when I needed to run it, and throw it to the right man. Other than that, it was pretty kind of simple, but it wasn't simple because the fact of the matter is you got senior guys counting on a freshman to kind of hold the fork down till other guys get back, right? So when I first got there in '99, Gardens hadn't made it to the playoffs. They hadn't made it to the playoffs in over a decade. So my freshman class was a big class, but we were a good big class, and we end up taking them to the next level with the 4 freshmen that we end up bringing up. And it's weird because we had a small district, but at that time, you don't understand districts and all that as a freshman. All you understand is when you're hearing the coach saying, okay, well, yeah, if we win this game, now we make it to the playoffs. And now our record didn't speak for we should have been in the playoffs, but we won the district games. Yeah. Right? So the games that matter. So we went 4-6 as a that was my record as a varsity quarterback. For freshmen, right? So, I mean, I really learned how to accept. To answer your question, I really learned how to just accept to give my body up when I played. Like I said, I learned a lot of that in Little League. You learn that you need to sacrifice for the team. Once you understand that as a youth player, as a young player, you have to be willing to sacrifice when a coach asks you to do something. You can't be oh, okay, yeah, well, I only play this position. Well, if you're the best player, you should play every position they ask you to play.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? It don't make sense to say, okay, yeah, I'm the best player, right? Or not. Now, I can understand, you know what I mean? You're not going from receiver to dang on offensive line or D-line. But, right, if we're at practice and we asking you to get your ass down that D-line or O-line, right, and we understand that you may lose, We just want to see if you're going to have grit about it, if you just going to do it, or if you're going to complain about it, right? So the biggest thing I would say for youth is just trust what your coach doing. Like, understand that, you know, he's not going to put you in a position he's never been in, right?
He ain't going to put you in a position to fail.
No.
He want to see you succeed.
Right.
He want to see the best for you.
Right.
That's why he coach you. That's why he there.
Exactly. But I feel like what the problem is with the youth nowadays, is they feel like somebody owed them something because they were a little league or a flag football champion, right? Like, I was a champion growing up. All they did was build character, right? Like,
now it's building ego.
Right, and that's a difference, right? Now, as a coach nowadays, I'm coaching an ego instead of coaching like the character of a kid. You know what I mean? Like, kids nowadays are so, but that's the society we live in, and that's the game that's being taught right now. Is if you don't like the team you own, you can go ahead and jump ship. Yeah. Whereas when I grew up, it was, bro, I'm on this ship, bitch, until this bitch go to the bottom. What is you talking about?
High school, boy, you locked in.
I ain't going nowhere. I want to. That I'm here to be this guy here,
you gotta
right?
Make it shape. High schools, ain't even go to college. You gotta make it shape.
I always had that mentality of when I got to college. You know, whatever college I go to, whoever accepted me and came and got me, I was gonna give my all to that school.
Yes, sir.
Right, because it's a commitment.
Since we get into that, so boom, we at Gardens, boom, freshman year happens, you go through your ups and downs, whatever, had to make that transition to play quarterback.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Sophomore, junior year is coming around. What's going on during this time leading up to your senior year?
Okay, junior, senior year, as a sophomore, I actually didn't play quarterback as a sophomore. I ended up playing like blocking back in a wing T system. Right, and middle linebacker still, like weak side linebacker at this point in time now, right? Because I showed that I was fearless, right? Not only can I be coachable, but I could be fearless too, right? So now that was my sophomore year. So I'm coming back as a sophomore, going into my junior year. We had a fullback. Shout out to my boy Prentice. You know, he was toting this mug. I just, Lord knows, I was like, oh yeah, boy, I'm gonna be the linebacker. He gonna be the fullback here, and we gonna win states. And some shit happened with him, you know. And he ended up leaving us, not by his will, but you know, due to his circumstances. And I end up being asked to play like fullback. Now at this point in time, like
fullback in the wing T.
Fullback in the wing T system. Now this guy gets the ball damn near every freaking play, right? And he has to know what's going on all assignments. Like you don't have time to be like you're a second quarterback, damn near almost, right? So, right, it was weird as hell because my first game we playing, all right, I'm doing this, and it's like, all right, well, it's other guys that was playing this position before I got to this position. So I was like the third or fourth string kind of guy. But like I was running tougher than they were, and I wasn't as fast as they were. I just was like, I was as quick as they were, but I wasn't as fast as they were. Like, so they would be able, if they strike out, they can hit it for like 80.
Yeah.
Whereas if I struck out, I'm gonna get you 40 on an 80-yard run that I probably should have housed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was just a hard-nosed, like, old-school type of runner, like, you know, Barney Karzar or, like, Earl Campbell or, like, you know, one of those guys, because, once again, that's the era I seen, like, and I watched, and I, like, I wasn't a light kid. I was always a bigger kid, so ain't no hell I couldn't run like no damn Walter Payton or Barry Sanders or, you know what I mean? So, like, I was one of those tough, hard-nosed, like, Eddie George kind of guys. Right, a guy that's gonna try to run through you instead of around you, right? I can remember like we was playing Olympic Heights, and like I didn't start. I just played blocking back. I played linebacker, and then this guy in front of me ended up fumbling a few times before halftime, and then next thing you know,
sophomore year or junior year?
this is my junior year.
Okay.
This is my junior year. Guy before me that had the starting spot ended up fumbling and giving up the ball a little too much in that game, and I had a few touches early in the beginning, maybe like 3 or 4, and then after halftime, because he had ended up fumbling so much, I just took the majority of the lead because I didn't fumble, and then that was my very first game. I seen the opportunity. Like we said, this game is opportunities. It's a game of opportunity. I was in the right place at the right time, as far as to being the quarterback for varsity and being moved up, right? And then I not only did I keep my badge and was able to stay on varsity, right? Because some kids could end up falling off, right? Because we've seen that. I kind of stayed on varsity as a sophomore, doing grunt work, and I was always a hard worker, and I got my opportunity. I seen it, I took it, and I ran with it, and never looked back. And then after that, that's when I was really taken to the next level, and I became who everybody know now as Earl Newby, right?
During that whole journey, you went from playing guard, offensive line, playing guard, from guard going to quarterback, from quarterback going to linebacker, fullback in the wing T offense. And during all this time, you remained coachable. You stayed at the school you was at. You didn't waver from, competition or getting moved from different position. There was no argument with a coach saying,
no,
you don't play this or you not gonna play that.
No,
you just
no. It was all being humbled and trusting the guy that was leading me. And at that time, it was Tim Tharp. Right, everybody know Coach Tim Tharp is, right, and we had a great staff, and Coach Brown and Coach Rick and Coach Freeman, Coach Fleury, like Coach Bobby Seifert, like Senior Seifert, Lombari, like those guys were like good coaches, but some of them still had their ways, right? But at the same time, the head guy really was the guy. Like I really looked up to this guy and believed and trusted in everything that he said, right? Because that's how you make the team better, right? You can't half-ass when you with a team, like, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So, I trust everything he was saying, and I knew that as a player, and I wanted to better myself, I had to just be a coachable kid, and being coachable means if he asked me. If I play safety, if he asks me to play linebacker, I'm going to go play linebacker. If I'm at linebacker, he asks me to play corner, right, I'm going to go and play corner. He may see something at me at corner that I don't see in myself, and that's the problem. Like a lot of kids nowadays don't see that. Coaches see that for them, right? I didn't see that. I was supposed to be toting the ball. Hell, I wanted to get a kid.
You're not going to see it. You ain't see the game long enough.
No.
The coach seeing the game long enough because he done been through it, and now he's sitting on the outside looking in.
Right. And that's what they were saying. And when I asked them nowadays, and then Coach Brown was like, he didn't want to really move me there, but then Coach Tharp was like, nah, he seen me in, fifth period and the way I moved, he thought that I could handle it, and that's what it was. And when I got my chance, like we said, an opportunity, I just took advantage of it and became who I became.
And ain't looked back.
And didn't look back. But it was still a struggle, right?
Okay.
Then here it goes now my senior year come around.
Yes,
so like I rushed for 1,000 yards my junior year, right? 13 something, not 1,000, like a little over 1,000, 13 something, right? I had like 11 touchdowns or such. Then my senior year come around, Super 11. I get all these accolades. I played in the Florida Georgia game.
Explain what Super 11 is. You know what I'm saying? We had New Jack barbecue. You know what I'm saying? We got the food.
I don't even like barbecue. I ain't no